Today, I'm doing my review of the Pimax Crystal Light. Now, having used the Pimax Crystal Light, has it changed my VR gaming forever? Can I ever go back to another headset? Let's find out. Now, Pimax is known for its great displays and great visual quality, which is great for things like sim racing and flight sims. But what I want to know is the Pimax Crystal Light a great all-rounder, not just for sim racing and flight sims, but for everything? That is the question. I mean, it is a bit of a chunky boy. Now, while I will be covering some sim racing in this video, I have actually made a dedicated video towards sim racing. I will link that later if that's what you're into. Now, who is the Pimax Crystal Light for? Well, enthusiasts that want a great display that have a beefy PC to power it. We're talking minimum 2080 here, ideally 3070 or equivalent. Performance will vary depending on what you have. Let's check out what you get in the box. First up, the controllers. The USB-A to USB-C charging cables for the controllers. And we have the power adapters for different countries. And we have the Pimax Crystal Light, tethered to a box. What's inside the box? Well, this is the cables. Now this little module is where you plug your power adapter into, and the other side is where your USB-A cable comes off and your DisplayPort cable. Now let's talk about design and comfort. Now the first thing, I mean, look at the design. How do you not look cool with this on your head? Huh? Oh, I mean, you're probably just going to be alone in your room and like no one's ever going to see you wearing it, but at least you know you look cool while you're alone in your room. So yeah, that's a plus. When it comes to comfort, I mean, this thing's pretty comfortable. Like, it does have quite a big halo strap, and it's nice, and like a big thick strap up here, and that feels good. Lots of cushioning here, lots of cushioning everywhere really. It doesn't feel too front heavy for me. Again, like, this is going to be different for everyone. Everyone's got a different size head, but for me, I find it's quite comfortable. There's a slight bit of light leakage here on the sides of my face, but again, that's just me. I have a pretty small head. You can get a different facial interface for this. It's there. It's on the Pimax website if that's what you want to do. I'm fine with this. For me, I've found it quite comfortable. I've used this headset for literally all day, for weeks, every single day, and I've personally found the comfort to be very good. Again though, everyone's going to be different. Everyone's got a different face. Something that also affects comfort, and I was debating whether I put this into visuals, but something that also affects comfort is the lenses. The lenses in here. Now with the Pimax Crystal Light, they use glass aspheric lenses, which I find to be quite comfortable. Not too much eye strain in my experience. Again, this could be different for everyone, but for me, I definitely prefer them over the let's say Fresnel lenses that some other manufacturers use in their headsets. They give me a bit more eye strain. These glass aspheric lenses, great. I would definitely use those over most of the others. Also, no 3 adjustments of IPD or anything, or no adjustments of some VR headsets. This actually has a little wheel on the side of the headset that you can get your IPD precisely right, which also helps comfort quite a lot. The IPD is adjustable from 58 to 72 millimeters. And quite luckily, the sweet spot with these these lenses, just these lenses, it's good. It's like a pretty large sweet spot. It's not like super moving the headset around trying to get that small little sweet spot of some lenses. I'm not saying it's the hugest sweet spot I have ever used in a headset, but it's good. It's very good. Very good. Let's talk about these controllers. These controllers remind me a lot of the Quest 2 controllers. Now, the difference here is going to be, instead of AA batteries, like the Quest controllers, they use USB-C charging, and it charges an internal battery. Other than that, the thing I probably would pick on with these controllers is the grab button. The grab button is a bit loose for me. I would like a little bit more resistance there. Other than that, it's pretty good. Yes, it has the ring around the top. I personally didn't find it got in the way when I was gaming. And pretty good. No real complaints here. Hello, editing Jason here. Something I forgot to add. Battery life on the controllers. It's pretty important. Somehow I didn't make it in. How do you like my bucket hat, by the way? Anyway, controller battery life was actually very good. Now, for the first few times I did charge it, battery life wasn't very good. It just needed a few times of charging. Then after that, it actually became very good. I could practically play all day and not need to charge the controllers at all. So battery life on the controllers, really, really good. Now, I was a little bit concerned because you can't just put a new AA battery in, but no need to be concerned, as it turns out. Let's talk about the microphone. And I'm now recording on the microphone, so you can hear what it sounds like if you're going to be on Discord chatting to your teammates or something while racing. This is what it's going to sound like. While I let you know about what the microphone sounds like, I will talk about something else built in on this particular headset, and that is the built-in audio here. Now, the built-in audio is not the best speakers I've ever heard. They tell you what you need. You can hear a car coming on the inside of you, or like the interchange gear, all that stuff. It tells you what you need. They're basic speakers. Now, you can upgrade these by the Pimax website. You can get additional better quality ones. I haven't tried them though, so I don't know how good they are. But if you don't want to pay the additional for the better quality headphones, you might have your own headset like this. These are my HyperX Cloud 2s. I use these for VR sim racing commonly. I do prefer the audio quality out of these. However, they don't really work with this. Just the way that it's designed around here, you can't put over-the-ear headphones on, really. It doesn't work. It does have a 3.5mm head jack here that you can plug into, so you can use some earbuds. That's pretty much your options with this particular headset. How the microphone sounds, I'll let you decide, and let's move on. Now let's talk about the performance and the visuals. This headset has a QLED display. It also has mini LED dimming, which is great because that increases the blacks. Even though it's not an OLED, it still has great blacks, and you can change the dimming in the software, which I'll get onto the software, just wait. The display has a 35 pixel density, and for me at least, I can barely see any screen door effect at all. Just very clean visuals here with the Pimax Crystal Light. It's very good colors, very good blacks, everything, really good. Another good thing about the Pimax headsets is something they're known for is FOV. Instead of like looking here, like some headsets, like a 90 degrees field of view. The Pimax Crystal Light is generally a bit more open. Again, it depends what facial interface you have on, and depends where your eyes are in your head and just your face. The data Pimax give me is up to 130 degrees field of view. It's probably, but yet on their website it'll say like 105. Again, depends on your face. But generally, you're gonna have a larger field of view on a headset like the Pimax Crystal Light compared to some of the other headsets out there. Now this is the Pimax Play software. Soon as you start it up, this is what you see. It'll probably update when you first get the product, if you choose to buy it. I'm not going to go through every single option here, but I'll go through the main ones that I think you should look at. Now some of these things, like the room settings and setting up in VR and all, you can do in the headset anyway. But the device settings is something you'll do on the computer. I'm running 90 Hertz. I find that to be just a good medium with the 6900 XT. If you're running minimum specs, you might have to go to 90 Hertz upscale or 72 Hertz. But again, play and experiment for your particular PC. Most of this stuff you're never going to touch. The games one you will probably. This is something I've spent a bit of time in, just perfecting the quality for my particular PC and graphics card and everything, and the games that I play. GPU upscaling, I'm running FSR in a balanced setting, so that's again gives you a little bit more performance, but not so much quality loss. And same with foveated rendering. I'm running foveated rendering in a balanced setting. Again, I can just bump up the graphics settings in the game a bit more running foveated rendering in a balanced setting, and you lose some of the stuff around the sides of your eye, down the very sides of the screen here. That's gonna be a bit more pixelated, but the center is probably more so when you bump up the settings, and you don't really notice it. So I like the foveated rendering. I like that it's an option here in the software. There's a few other options here to customize all this stuff. General, advanced. Again, you're probably not going to need to touch a lot of this stuff. Something I do recommend touching is the local dimming. I did modify this. It came high. I've knocked it to around about there. I find that's right for me. I just found some things were quite dark on high, like sometimes entire areas. So I just knocked that down a little bit. Again, personal preference. Modify stuff, see what you like. As for the rest, I mean, there's a store here. You can buy games here. In my assets, this takes your games off like Steam VR and everything, so you don't need to necessarily open Steam VR to pick the game and press start. You can just go to my assets and press start on whatever game you want to play. Software is pretty good. I haven't had any issues with the software at all. It's all just been pretty easy on that front. Now, how does this chunky boy go in terms of performance? Let's jump in. Now, for my purposes in testing here, I'm running a custom-built PC by myself, and that is a CPU of a Ryzen 9 5900X, 32 gigs of RAM, and a 6900 XT graphics card. Now, I spent about a week testing in many different VR titles here, on top of the weeks I spent testing in my sim racing video. I'm not going to go through every single game, but it was like Population 1, Beat Saber, VR Chat, Propagation, Sirento, Thief Simulator, Onward, and many more. Again, I won't get into it at all, but the performance in normal VR was very good with this headset, with my what I guess you could say middle of the tier recommended graphics card settings and all that by Pimax. Visuals were exactly what I wanted to see here. Everything looked amazing, everything was very clear. I didn't have to touch any of the title's graphical settings. I didn't like get into a game and I was like, oh, I'm starting to drop frames and I need to like lower the settings or anything. Everything just worked out of the box, and most of the games were on high graphical settings as well. I had the headset set to 90 Hertz, and while the Pimax Crystal Light did get warm while gaming, it didn't get excessively hot or anything. In my room, it was around about 19 degrees Celsius on average throughout the days I was testing here. Now, one thing I did come across was when you tap the headset, it's meant to go through pass-through mode. When I was in games like Propagation, and I was getting like a few jump scares or something, and I quickly turn around, sometimes the headset did go into pass-through mode, which is a little bit weird. That might be able to be fixed in a firmware update or something, but yeah, it's just something I noticed in a few like jump scary kind of moments. I think it might have happened in Population 1 once as well, when I quickly turned around, but yeah, just something to note there. Something else I also look at when I'm testing, not just in games and how it performs there, but also consuming content like Netflix and big screen and movies and all that stuff. Unfortunately, I can't show video of that, by the way, just due to copyright reasons and all that, obviously. But especially in bright scenes, I find movies and all that show this more than games. Some VR headsets, you get a lot of like stray light and God rays, and it's very annoying. And I'm happy to report that with the Pimax Crystal Light, that wasn't the case here. With the glassospheric lenses that they use on this particular headset, I found enjoying and consuming content with this headset very good. I didn't have any issue, and I would happily sit for hours watching some movies or something with this headset on. Now, as I said, I did test this in sim racing titles. Sim racing titles were a little bit different in performance to what I found in the normal VR gaming. For the most part, the sim racing titles were pretty good, with an exception of Assetto Corsa Competizione. I won't get into that too much. I'll leave that link at the end of this video and down in the description if you want to see the sim racing review that I did with the Pimax Crystal Light. Now let's talk about the inside-out tracking through these cameras you see here. It uses 4 cameras, 2 on top, 2 on the bottom. No need for lighthouses. However, you can upgrade to lighthouse tracking if that's what you wanted to do. I personally do like lighthouse tracking. It's a little bit more fiddly, but I do prefer it, especially for things like sim racing. You're in one spot. But let's talk about the inside-out tracking that you get from standard, and it's a little more pickier than I would like. It's probably my biggest thing with this headset. I've nearly exclusively been filming in this room, and I mean that's a thing because it's tethered to the PC, and the PC's in this room, so I can't carry around the PC now, can I? On a little backpack. And I just find nearly every day that I've been filming, and I've been filming for a lot of the days throughout the day, normally into the night, and so the lighting changes from outside to inside, and I'm using some of the outside light for the tracking because I find that more reliable during the day than when I have just the lights on at night. Something I found, and I mentioned this in my last video, when I got the lights turned up a lot, then it doesn't track very well. When I got the lights turned down a lot, then it doesn't track very well. It's somewhere in the middle is where the tracking is good with the Pimax Crystal Light for me. Your room might be different. My downlights here, I don't know if they're just too bright or something, but just in the middle of a game, whether it's Population 1 or sim racing, it just all of a sudden just starts moving, and the ground is moving, and I take the headset off, and look, there's a little bit less light coming through my window, and so I have to stop and then change everything. Maybe add an additional background light to shine up a wall. I've got this table light over here. When I have this seat here or something, or when I'm standing here, I actually move that to be shining up here. It's just a cheap $9 table light, right? And 9 AUD table light with a smart globe in it, and that does alright. I've also got a floodlight back there that shines up the other side of the wall. Just VR stuff. But yeah, that's something to know, that at least in the current software version with this headset, the tracking is a little bit more picky than I would like it to be. In my scenario, I can't test it in yours. Everyone's going to be different here. You know, before I had a Pimax Crystal Light, I really, I felt that the consensus about them was that they were mostly a sim headset for sim racing and flight sims and all that stuff. But I feel like after using it and having one here, that's not necessarily the case. Even for when I want to play just general VR games, instead of using some of my other VR headsets, if I did have this sitting here, and I mean this is just loaned to me by Pimax, I would choose the Pimax Crystal Light to pick up and play those games if I wanted, you know, the tethered experience. There's low latency, there's no compression going through like a display port and USB cable, next to no screen door effect. It's just very good, very comfortable. I like it. So I really do think the Pimax Crystal Light is more of an all-rounder than people think it is. Now, if you would like to pick one of these up, Pimax have sent me some discount codes and things. They've got a sale going on if you're watching at the time that I'm posting this. But I mean, there's some codes down there. I'm not going to get into it. They're all linked down below. Check it out. Check out my sim racing video if that's what you're into. Now, if you would also like to know how the Pimax Crystal Light stacks up against the Meta Quest 3, well, that's coming up. Subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.